Hello and welcome to Rolling Out Star Studio. My name is Portia Monique, and today I'll be your host. And we have a fantastic guest today by the name of Angela Birchett. She's an actor, singer, and performer. You may have seen her in some of her outstanding roles. We'll get into that in a second, but she definitely plays some of my favorite characters. But Angela, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Portia, for having me.
Absolutely. And I would be remiss if I didn't open up the show and say, "What up, doe?" Because we
What
both
up,
in
dog?
Detroit. What up, doe?
What up,
So
dog?
a couple of Detroit girls.
Right.
Um, so let's get right into it. I want to talk. So today we're talking about Kirk Franklin's A Gospel Christmas, but I want to take it back to the beginning because I want to talk about where you got started in your hometown of Detroit. And my first question for you is, where did you develop your love of singing?
Yeah. Well, probably like most singers from Detroit, we all somehow got started in the church.
Mhm.
And you're Detroit girl, so Detroit has some of the most legendary, iconic, not just gospel singers, but pastors, preachers,
Yeah.
songwriters, Grammy Award winners. So I've definitely got my the structure and the bones laid for me as a singer and just performing and being in front of audiences since a child. I grew up at Greater Grace Temple, which if people know
Okay,
Detroit.
Greater Grace.
Yeah.
Salute to Greater Grace. Okay, go ahead, girl. Oh, 7 Mile and Schaefer. When it was on Seven
That's
Mile and
right.
Schaefer, girl. Okay, go
It's
ahead.
different because it's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I grew up at Schaefer in 7 Mile
Yeah,
location.
yeah, yeah.
And that, and I mean, I grew up listening to, Fred Hammond all the time. He was a member there, and we'd get guests all the time. The Clark sisters, Twinkie would come play all the time. The Winans would come. Just any given Sunday, you could hear, legends. So I that's what I knew. So I started there and found that love. I come from a singing family. My father's a singer, a band leader. My sister sings. So we just kind of started on that track, and it just never ended. I didn't really love anything else more. So
Hmm.
I went to a high school that had an amazing music department. Went on to college to study music, major in music, sang in an award-winning choir there. Tons of groups. So it's always been the soundtrack of my life. I've not really been in an environment or an educational setting where music wasn't involved. So
Yeah.
to go into this as a career just kind of was obvious.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Did you always know that this was going to be your career path, or did you perhaps have something else in mind, but wanted, to kind of pursue the singing first, and then it just didn't work out because you're so fantastic at singing?
Actually, the only shifting around was what I actually wanted to do in entertainment.
Mm,
I wanted to, be like a recording artist at one point, and then when I got to college, I fell in love with opera. I studied opera exclusively for a while. Thought I really wanted to do that, and then, but all the while, I had known what musical theater was. But growing up in Detroit, growing up in church, you kind of when you think theater, you think like the black gospel plays. You don't think about Broadway. You don't even know what
right,
that
right.
is usually. But once I found out about that, everything kind of shifted around to, wow, like this is where you can marry acting and singing and dancing and
Mhm.
costumes. And so really that was the only question mark. What did I want to pursue? And it turns out that I kind of pursued it all. I am pursuing it all. But
Uh-huh.
no, I became good at different things over the years, but nothing pulled me enough to say I want to do this, forget music.
And speaking of Broadway, you had a marvelous Broadway debut with The Color Purple.
Yeah.
And then you played my personal fave, Effie White.
Yeah.
Like on any given day, I might be subject to just break out and sing one of the lines from Dream Girls,
Yeah.
girl. It's like if somebody says something and it triggers a reaction that Effie may have given, that's what they gonna get is Effie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's an iconic show.
Yeah.
It's one of those. it's a monster of a show, to not just in what Effie has to do, but to lead a show, a big show like that, with so many storylines happening at the same time. I tell young artists all the time, it's important to create what you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because a lot of times the things that are already created, they were created onto someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not be a good fit for you. And you want to always be somewhere doing something that you love, and that speaks to you, and that you can find a point of connection as a storyteller, as a singer. And we saw that in this rise of this star, Jennifer Holliday, who originated the role on Broadway, I think in
Mm-hmm.
1981. I think she debuted it. But
Mm-hmm.
this show was literally written for her,
Mm-hmm.
and she fully stepped into it. And so those are big shoes to fill. And even to make it full circle, when I did The Color Purple, the last Sugar Avery that we had was Miss Jennifer Holliday,
Oh,
and to be on stage with
wow.
her every night and to just feel that power come off of her, I could only imagine what it was like 20, 30 years ago when she opened the show, opened Dreamgirls at the Imperial on Broadway.
Wow, that just gave me chills. And I'm sitting up here talking about Jennifer Hudson. No, we talking about the original Jennifer Holliday. Let's get that together.
Well, shout
Um,
out to Miss J Hood. She did her thing. She gave it life. She won that Oscar. So much love to
Listen,
her.
I told you she is my fave. All props to her. And I promise you, on any given day, somebody would be like, I'll just break out and say, Curtis was supposed to love me. Don't play with me. Listen, my whole family, we do that whole skit. And I have two sons, and they be like, Ma, please, Ma, it's okay. Like, we don't have to do it this time. So
Like,
anyway,
oh,
that's
here
my
she
favorite.
goes. She got to start
Right,
again.
right, right. Like this, your part is Curtis. Can you give me Curtis? Anyway, let's get into this love of acting. Where
Yeah.
did that start? Was it always there, and how did you kind of marry the two into what you're doing now?
Well, I was the first time that I truly can say I was introduced to a real musical theater piece. I was 14, actually here in Detroit. There's a wonderful children's theater called the Mosaic Youth Theater of
Yeah.
Detroit. Everybody knows Mosaic, especially if you're from Detroit, but they're
Mhm.
award winning, and they were led. It was led. He's now retired from the position, but Rick Sperling was the artistic director for Mosaic, and he was that summer that when I did my first, like what I would call like my first musical theater professional show, he was directing it and cast me in a show called Pearly, which had a great run on Broadway back in I think the 60s. Um, fully black, almost fully black cast, and I was like the youngest cast member, but I was playing like one of the oldest roles. And to this day, he always says, I knew when I cast you in this, the energy and the maturity that you brought to the role, your natural instincts as an actor, because I didn't have any training. I just had church, we maybe did like the
Mhm.
thing for Christmas, but I
Mhm.
didn't do theater, and still to this day, I learned on in the trenches. I didn't go to school for acting. I didn't, have go to a conservatory. I literally learned as I went along. And that was when the light bulb went off, and I said, wow, like we are having these scenes and having these discussions, and then we break into a song, and
Mhm.
it's a part of the story. You can't really tell the story in a musical without the musical component um of the singing. And a lot of people make fun of that, like, oh, here we go, here comes a song, but it really is a cool device
Yeah.
that has made Broadway what it is, and
Mhm.
theater what it is. And it really started there. And then I just started doing my own like research about it. I'm a kid growing up in Detroit. I didn't know anything about Broadway or anything. And
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, yeah, and then it just went on from there. I did summer stock in college, which is just theater during the summer when you on breaks. You
Mhm.
tend to do like a bunch of shows in one summer. Um, and I just fell in love with it. And I knew, my voice and my style was more of like a gospel,
Mhm.
beltier thing. But my training as a vocalist in college and just exposing myself and reading and learning about musical theater helped me learn how to shift and be able to sing what we call legit, which is just Not a belty. It's very straightforward. Um, it's not quite a classical sound, but it's not
Hmm.
a big sound. And depending on the show, that's what it calls for. And I learned how to do it. I'm still learning how to do it because we never stop learning.
Right.
Love it. I love
Yeah.
it. And I'm so grateful that I've been able to be a part of some amazing shows and work with some amazing colleagues and directors and
Yeah.
producers. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And speaking of amazing shows and bringing maturity to some of your roles, one of your amazing roles that you played was in my new favorite movie. You know, sometimes you got your old favorites and then you get your new favorites. So this
Yeah.
is one of my new favorite movies of all time, The Clark Sisters, where you played Jackie Clark Chisholm. And baby, when I say you played the hell out of that role, like, listen, Jackie, I loved it. And I want to know. And then, when I saw that you were actually from Detroit, and I'm like, well, how was that for her playing an
Yeah.
icon living, really, right? Um, the Clark sisters, how was that playing, Jackie Clark? What was the experience for you and playing someone like that from your hometown that you probably got a chance to see growing up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the movie came out, a while ago now, but I still am so blown away by the response to it,
Yeah,
how everybody loved it. They felt
yeah.
that, Lifetime really did a good job of capturing their story, and people are so moved by being able to see a portrayal of them. So for me as an actor and a girl from Detroit growing up in the Pentecostal church, this is one of those like unbelievable dream come true roles. Like when I got the call that I booked it, I just I couldn't believe it. I mean, I could believe it because that's what I do. Like this is what we
Yeah,
do. We audition,
yeah.
but as I got closer and closer and realized, oh, I'm in the mix for this. I'm still in the mix for this.
Mm,
Oh, I'm still in the mix for this. And then to
mm.
get the call that I get to be a part of telling the story of these iconic women that is long overdue.
Yeah,
It just was mind blowing. I felt so honored.
yeah.
I felt so blessed to be a part of the team of people that would tell this story. And the journey through that, the research, the talking with Jackie, talking to the other sisters, then once we're on set, like just talking to Kiera, just getting her perspective on
Mhm,
her
mhm,
family and her having to like kind of go into a lot about her family that she didn't
mhm.
even know some of the stuff as we worked through the script and what would be covered. But particularly for me with Jackie, I knew when we had our first sit down to talk and just kind of touch base, I was like, oh, and I'm not even trying to, this is not a flex or nothing like that, but like, just
Like,
yeah,
oh,
I knew I was the right, they had made the right choice. Like, I was
mhm,
the right person to play her because
mhm,
we had so many connection points and so many similarities. And as I talked to her and I could just connect with her energy and her spirit and laugh with her, I could feel how to tell her story.
mm.
And it helped a lot because we have so many similarities, and even our mannerisms and our humor is very similar, that
Yeah.
I knew, outside of getting used to being like on a film set, because I had done theater and some television. This was my first film.
Mhm,
But once I could ground myself and get past the crew everywhere and all the cameras and the small spaces and the cold, I knew that I had something to share, and I was just so happy to talk to Jackie right after the film aired, and she just was like hysterical. Like she was
he is
so,
funny.
oh, she cried, she yelled in the phone. She Because I thought she had seen the film before it came out. All the other sisters had, but she hadn't.
Oh, wow.
So her first time seeing it was when we all saw it, and to
Yeah.
get a call from her and to tell, for her to say, "You made me feel so seen and so beautiful and so
Mm,
heard and understood,"
mm.
it just gave me goosebumps. And I'm so still, I'll never forget it. It will be, I don't know what could top it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. You just gave me so many chills and so many goosebumps. Uh, phenomenal. Like you were really phenomenal, and you brought so much vulnerability to Jackie's character, especially in the scene. And I know we're not here to talk about that, but I'm just saying, I'm giving you your flowers, girl. But
Thank you.
especially in the scene where you had to get kicked out the house, and you was like, "Mama, I'm gone." I'm like, "Girl, I
Yeah.
felt you." But when
It's
Mama came back and she was like, "Come on, cause he gone now," I was
right.
like, "That's right, Mama."
Well, you know that scene where she comes to the hospital to get her to come home. That was a really interesting scene to shoot for me. Because Dr. Maddie has such a, like, you did what she said, you know, and
Mm-hmm,
I had to really find that delicate balance of Jackie really is a lot like Maddie in that when she digs her heels in about something, she does. And
mm-hmm,
so even and I don't know, as I watch it, sometimes I wonder if it reads this way, but I almost kind of see like this battle between Jackie and her mom of Jackie's trying to love on her mom, but she just is as committed to not being a part of abuse and not being a part of
yeah,
dysfunction as she is to loving her mom.
yeah.
So we see a vulnerability that we don't see in Dr. Maddie probably anywhere else in the film in that moment. And then you see a guarded anger, almost anger from
Mm-hmm,
Jackie to her mom. And I just thought that was so interesting. And it was a really, as an actor, and to find my process in that scene, it was challenging because how do I empathize with my mom but stand my ground,
absolutely.
wanting to come home, you know, I want to be with my family,
Yeah.
and knowing Jackie personally and just how she is, she's still like that. She's so used
Mm-hmm,
to having to like brace herself for pain,
mm-hmm,
brace herself for
mm-hmm.
dysfunction, that sometimes it's just hard for her to say okay, fine. And
Yeah.
that scene and the scene before it too was very moving. It was my first day, actually. We shot that whole slap get off scene
Wow.
my first day of shooting, my second scene of the day. It was
Wow.
tough. Much love to
Oh,
Ingenue Ellis, who
yes.
stepped in like a real mom and, you know, really got me in a place where I could deliver. So much love to her for that.
And deliver you did. Amazing job, phenomenal job. Um, I'm going to go watch it again because
Yeah.
I gotta watch for that now.
I tune in every now and then, like, I'll just watch it again 'cause I
I
just
gotta go watch
love
it.
it.
Hands down is one of my favorite new films. No, seriously, it is.
Right.
But let's talk about what is soon to become one of my new films. So we talked to several cast members of Kirk Franklin's A Gospel Christmas, and I have not received the screener, so I really don't know what
Okay.
to expect, but I do know that it's going to be some singing, it's going to
Mhm.
be some singing, and it's going to be some singing. So
Okay.
tell us about your role as Stella, a lead singer in the choir who owns her own popular diner in town.
Yeah. So this is definitely a shift from Jackie. Obviously, it's Christmas. Lifetime is known for their, you know, 2 months of just running all the Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a super fun thing because we get to see us, you
Yeah.
know, and we get to see Jesus, we get to see church, we get to see gospel music be what Christmas is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool. I loved getting to really sing, you know, in this film. Um, a lot of folks. It's funny because a lot of people who didn't know me from a can of paint before the Clark sisters, a lot of folks I get all the time. They think I'm an actor like that
Mm-hmm.
can sing, but it really is the other way around.
Uh-huh.
And so it's been really nice to get to like do my thing, like what I do in this film. And the even better part about it is that we got to do the classic music from Kirk Franklin's iconic Christmas album that has, you know, all the jams we know and love. You won't
Mm-hmm.
hear all of them in the movie, but you'll hear quite a few. And Miss Stella, who I play, gets to sing a lot of these. So you'll get like the traditional like church choir moments. You're gonna hear Kirk's music in a little different way.
Mm-hmm.
And not just from me, but Chaz Shepard, who is our leading man, he
Mm-hmm.
sings, and if y'all know Chaz, he sings all the way, and he's been in all the
We've heard.
musical
Mm-hmm.
movies. Um, and Demetria McKinney, who plays our lead, she also sings. The legendary Regina Bell opens the movie. So I just want to tell everybody, get ready to have you having Christmas, but we gonna have some church because it's some
Yeah.
real singing. And we got in the studio and Kirk really just guided us to like really give his music what it needed to work within the film because all the songs kind of go with the storyline. So they are not just throwing songs. They help push the story along, and you're gonna feel encouraged. You're gonna want to sing along, and you're gonna be celebrating Christmas. So I'm really excited for everybody to meet Stella and her little pixie cut.
Okay. I can't wait. I can't wait. I was telling Erica Sutherland that it was giving me Preacher's Wife vibes, right?
Yeah.
Especially the soundtrack. Like I can play that soundtrack from beginning to end. And I asked her, will this soundtrack be like that as well? She said most definitely. So
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. Now, what is one of your favorite songs from this film? And tell us why.
Oh gosh, it's so hard to call because they're all so good. But I think probably my favorite is it's a kind of a family scene where like everybody's kind of sitting around like a little sing along. We all do it. Somebody plays piano, somebody get on the keys, and then people start singing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, that song "There's No Christmas Without You," Chaz and I sing a duet, and it's so black family, soulful. It
Yeah.
almost feels like you leave the movie for a second and you're transported to like a real life jam around the piano with
Uh-huh.
your cousins, your friends, your boo. It's
Yeah.
really a nice feel. So for me, that was probably when I've seen a little bit of the clips of the film, I'm like, wow, I feel so like I just want to do this the whole time I'm watching it because it's very
Yes.
bluesy, it's very soulful R&B, um, and it just makes you feel warm and like, wow, this is what the holiday is supposed to feel like. If I wasn't in the mood, I'm in the mood now.
I love it. Give us just a little bit of the hook. What's the song? Give us a little bit of the
Um,
hook.
I'm trying to think of my verse. Oh, I got to think of the words. Um, oh God, my phone went blank. Da 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 da. Your gift of love, such a sacrifice to give, sent from above. So we forever now will live. So with our voices lifted high, our praises lifted to the sky. Jesus, you're the reason why there's no Christmas without you. It's so Kirk
Oh
Franklin.
my God. Like I really do feel like crying right now because that was so beautiful. Thank you so much for that. So y'all know that y'all have to tune into this. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's debuting Saturday, December 4th. We gonna be in the building sitting around. If we put the tree up, we gonna be sitting around the tree. We gonna watch it as a family. And I can't wait. I can't wait.
It's gonna be a
What's your
great time.
it has to be. I mean, because we talked to Demetria, we talked to Kendra, we talked to, of course, Erica Sutherland, and everyone is saying the same thing. Like, it really is going to be one of those feel good films that you just gonna be grooving the whole time. So I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And before we get out of here, tell us what is the one thing that's the favorite thing about this film for you?
I as we moved through it and I got to watch some of the filming and we had our talks as we were preparing to go to set. The biggest thing that I took away from this, two things. One, that we really celebrate black female leadership in this film. Olivia's mom is a pastor and she sends her daughter off to now be a new pastor in a male dominated church environment.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it's so cool to, I mean, we already don't have the amount of programming for people of color on it. So to get that, and then also to get seeing women be powerful, be leaders, you know, that was super, super important and cool. And I'm so glad I'm connected to that. And I also play a business owner, a leader in the film. Also, um, and I hope this is an encouragement for people who watch it. Just because things are hard, just because you're presented with challenges or obstacles or people who just aren't rooting for you, that doesn't mean that you can't get it done. You just
Yeah.
gotta, you know, if you can't go through the front door, you gotta go around to the back. If you can't go through the back door, find the side door. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And we watch Olivia, played by Demetria McKinney, do just that. She was down, but she wasn't out. And
Mm-hmm.
she even fought through some of her own personal challenges and self-inflicted doubt and fears to shine and rise. And you all see that in the end of the film. But it's such an encouragement. It's so cool to be a black woman, seeing
Yeah.
black women with black creative team, our executive producer, Miss Twinkie, Tracy Twinkie Bird, directed by the amazing Erica Sunderland. These are both sisters that are doing it for themselves and
Yes.
leading us. And it was just so cool to watch them like call the shots on set and really take charge. So it's those are my two big things that I really am excited about and proud to be a part of.
I love that. I love that. Yes, there is more than one way to skin a cat. And what I would tell my boys all the time is no whining, no complaining, no excuses. Get it done. Find a way, make it happen. Do what you got to do. Okay.
That's right. That's
As long as it's
right.
not illegal.
I'm
As
that
long as it's not illegal. Yes, yes, yes. Now, Angela, tell us where can we follow you, and then also let us know about some of your upcoming projects as well.
Yeah. Well, it's my regular name on all the socials.
Mhm.
I'm probably the most active on Instagram, and if you go on Instagram in my bio, there's a link tree that literally has everything, all the things. Right now, I have some Christmas stuff some concerts that I'm going to be running around the country doing. So if
That's
anybody's in the DC area, I'll be at the Kennedy Center at the end of December. I'll be in Texas doing a
awesome.
Christmas show, and other than that, just lots of gigs and singing and studio. I'm always working. All my friends are always tease me because they're like, "Ange, when do you sit down?" I'm like, whenever.
Why? Like, let me do my
I'll
best.
get to it. I'll get to it.
Right.
Um, yeah.
The Kennedy Center is huge. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
be okay. So give us just a little bit more details about that one.
Yes. So I will be doing. It's called the Social Impact Performance Series,
Mhm.
led by an amazing sister down in DC. She does a lot of their ethnic urban programming. Her name is Goldie Patrick, and she's a Detroit girl too.
Okay.
And she invited me and my band to come down and just do an hour in entertainment at the Millennium Stage. It's going to be on December 30th. It's totally free and open to the public at 7 p.m. So if anybody's around or you live in DC or you'll be in DC for the holidays, this is right before New Year's Eve. Come on by. We'll be there. We'll be doing some R&B, some soul, some gospel. Um, yeah,
That
I'll be
sounds like something we should be putting on our calendar. That definitely sounds like something we should be doing. And
yeah.
it's free. Um, okay, I might have to maneuver that. I don't know where I'll be for New Year's, but if I'm definitely in the area, I'm gonna come down and listen to y'all.
All
So
right.
absolutely. So it's been a pleasure speaking with you. This was really fun. I can't wait for this film to come out on this Saturday, December 4th. Lifetime, y'all. Tune
Yeah.
in. Yes, Angela plays Stella, and we're definitely here for it. So thank you again for talking to us about Star Studio and everything that you've done in your career. You are phenomenal. Thank you for singing,
You're
and
welcome.
giving us and sharing all your gifts with us as well. We appreciate you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me again, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too. And thank you for stopping by Rolling Out Star Studio. And you guys tune into the next episode of Rolling Out Star Studio. And I am your host, Portia Monique. We'll talk to you guys soon.